My guest today is filmmaker Natalia León, and she left Mexico at the age of 17 to study at the National School of Decorative Arts in Paris, where she specialized in animation. Passionate about writing and storytelling, she decided to complete her training at the School of Visual Arts in New York, where she studied screenwriting and directing. Now, in 2021, during her final year at ENSAD, she wrote and developed the project Como si la tierra se las hubiera tragado, translated to as if the earth had swallowed them up. And it's her first short film produced by Expo Films. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome filmmaker and animator Natalia León and her very powerful animated short film, Como si la tierra se las hubiera tragado, to the show. Welcome, Natalia.
Thank you so much, Ward, for having me, and thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with me about this film.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very powerful film. And is this your first animated short film?
It is my first professional animated short film. I have made several like for schoolwork, but this one was like the very first professional one. Yes.
So, why did you want to get into animation?
Oof. I'm not sure that was like a real decision at some point in my life. I think I was in a school where I could do many different art things, and I actually started studying product design, but then I was very frustrated after 2 months of being there because I would create objects that weren't buildable in the real world. And I thought, okay, I need to change and I need to go somewhere where I have no limits, where I can create whatever I want. And animation seemed like a very good fit, especially because since I was 13 years old, I wanted to study film. And then, like growing up, I kind of lost track of that dream. And then the dream catched me back. So that's how I then ended up in the animation department at my school. Yes.
Well, after watching your short film, it brings up a subject that is not talked about very much. Can you explain to my audience what your film is actually about?
Yes. So the film is about a very difficult and painful subject. It's about the violence against women in Mexico because there's a real human crisis happening right now and happening since many, many years, which is that there are a lot of women who go missing and who are murdered every single day. So that's like the topic of the film, but the story, it's about a young woman who lives abroad, and she goes back to her hometown in Mexico to visit her mother and to reconnect with her past, but she finds herself confronted to the memories of her childhood because the girl who worked in the ice cream shop next to her place went missing, and so she has to she has to deal with all the memories that this journey brings to her.
You know, I watched this film a few times. It's very powerful. Again, it's a subject that a lot of people don't bring up, they don't talk about it. And as I was watching the film, I was wondering, why did you choose animation to tell the story versus live action to tell the story?
Yes, so like the most important thing for me was the story that I was gonna tell. So when I was writing the script, the aesthetics of the film took a second place, and I focused on the story, just purely like really what I wanted to tell. And once like a first good draft of the script was done, I started wondering what would be the best medium to tell this story. And I realized that I had imagined scenes that were gonna be maybe not in the subtlety that I wanted, that I could find with animation, because there are scenes in this film that I think if they were in live action, they wouldn't bring like the metaphoric aspect that I wanted to to bring. And also animation like allowed me to use the symbols in this film and to make it more poetic in a way.
I completely agree because as I was watching the film, and again, the story of the film is about a girl named Olivia. It shows us when she was growing up in Mexico, but it also shows us when she returns home from living abroad. And that contrast is very powerful. And it showed me the problem of the missing women was actually getting worse over the years. And at first, as I was watching the film, because you start the film off with Olivia being young, and she always went to the ice cream shop before going home from school. So the film starts off with really a happier tone, but then it changes when the woman that she always saw at the ice cream shop disappears. And are any of the missing women in Mexico, are they ever found?
Um, yes, like it happens, but it's really rare. I mean, found alive, I mean, is really rare. They are usually found dead, thrown either like in the nature or in the water, or there are pieces of them found, sorry, in the trashes of bags of trash. I'm not sure. Um, so that's, they usually are not found alive.
Is that why in the film that the trash bag appears?
Yes,
I was
yes,
wondering about that because at first, when we see the trash bag, we don't really know. When we see it again, because now the complete story is coming into view, it really has this very subtle impact in the film. I like the fact that it leaves people wondering, and
yes,
so, when I saw the trash bag the second time, I was wondering if that's why you put that in there. And
yes.
and like you said, by choosing animation over live action to tell the story, it's easier to bring forth the metaphors into the story to tell it correctly. Now, I loved the animation. And so tell me about the design of the animation. Where did the idea come from?
You mean like the design of the characters and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, yeah, the setting, the characters, because it's 2D animation, which I really love, more so than 3D. I love the 2D animation, and I love the contrast that you did between black and white and color. So, uh, please explain.
Yes. So yeah, I think I chose 2D animation because it allowed me to have like very precise movements, because my characters move in like this very slow and very precise manner, and they have like a lot of gazes. Like there's a lot of discussions that happen with the eyes. So I thought that 2D animation was gonna be the right choice. And then so in the story I talk about that this very terrible side of Mexico, and I wanted to talk about the other side of Mexico, which is the side of my childhood, through the images. So I wanted the backgrounds to be very beautiful, because I wanted to express that Mexico is also beautiful place full of warmth and joy and kindness. So that is why the world of young Olivia is full of these pinks and yellows and oranges, because I wanted the images to show this light and this warmth. And then I needed to create like a visual impact, and contrast with the other world from adult Olivia. Um, and then it just kind of made sense to take away the colors, because then it would represent her loss of innocence and her taking awareness of the violence in her country.
Yeah,
And I think
no, go ahead.
and I think that's exactly how I felt, like all the colors left my world when I started like doing the research for this film. So it just made sense that the character would go through something similar.
It made absolute complete sense. And what I loved about your choice of the design of the animation to tell this particular story, when the audience watches it, it has this very human, this this relatable human element to it. And and I love the way that you wrote it, because at first I remember when Olivia was walking by and she sees the first missing persons poster on the wall. And then when she comes back years later from living abroad, and that's when it's the black and when the black and white has bled in to the film, there's many more missing persons posters on that same wall. And it was just very, very powerful. Um, I love the fact that you used the eyes of the characters to tell the story, um, where this whole film is not heavy in dialogue. Because I
Hmm.
would rather see, yeah, it's funny because with a film like this one, I have seen live action films to where there's a very minimum use of dialogue. And most of the story is told either through the music score, or the expressions and the look upon the characters' faces. And you bring this to incredible life in this film. And again, I loved how you separated the present day in black and white and used the past, which was in color, um, which was a very, very brilliant move. What has been the audience's reaction to your film?
The reaction has been both incredible and overwhelming. Um, so many women coming to me after each screening, telling me how this film made them feel and how they felt seen and understood, and that they also have all this anger inside of them, and then they felt this film gave them voice to all these feelings. So that has been like so incredible to know that people connect with something that we created. It's unbelievable and sometimes it is also very painful to know that so many people can connect with the story, because I think part of me wishes this film didn't exist, you know?
No, I completely understand. Has this film been seen in Mexico?
Yes, yes. It premiered in the Festival of Guadalajara in June, and since then it's been, I think, in five or four different festivals. So yeah, and the response has also been really good. I haven't been there, unfortunately, but I see it online, and I see that a lot of people write that when you are in the theater, you can feel this like void at the end, and nobody says a thing for a few seconds. And I experienced that for the first time at Sundance in January, and I like to read about it because I completely understand that feeling, and I think it's very very important.
Yeah, very important because when I watched it, and I think for many women who watch it, I think it creates, I think it helps them to be more aware of their surroundings, regardless where they live, um, because it is a very impactful, powerful film told through the world of animation. And everything you did with this film is just brilliant. Now, you won the jury award at Sundance, correct?
Yes,
Now, and
yes,
you are Oscar qualified now?
yes, correct.
That must be very, very exciting for you.
It is. It is also a bit overwhelming, but definitely exciting. Yeah, to think that this story could reach such a big audience is it's amazing. Yeah.
What was it like winning at Sundance? Was that, I'm sure that was a complete surprise.
Yes, yes, it was, especially because there were incredibly talented people in the room with me, so I didn't expect that at all, and I think it felt like a dream. Honestly, it didn't felt real when it happened. Um, and still, like for 2 days later, I was like, "What? That happened? Oh yeah, that happened." And sometimes, like I need to go back and watch like the pictures to like remind me that like that whole Sundance experience was real. But I think I was very touched because to have like my first film premiering in such a prestigious festival and then winning the award for animation at such a young age, I feel it's a gift because then I have like the validation, that you can do this, you can live from your creations and from your art. So I think that is like the biggest gift that Sundance gave me, for sure.
It must have been a shock when you got word that you were accepted to Sundance.
Yes, yes, it was very surprising. I remember I was in a bus. It was like a 10 hours bus, and I just was taking a break from the bus, and I went to my emails and I saw that the film was selected into Sundance, and I just couldn't believe it. And I called my mom, and she was like, "What? How is this possible?" Um, yeah, I think like the whole experience with this film has been really good, for sure.
Well, let me ask you because, and I've talked to other Sundance winners, and to win at Sundance in January Does that make the rest of the year easier?
Depends on what area, I guess. Um, yeah, I guess so. I guess 2025 has been a really great year. Um, Also because, like for me, this film was very important because it's like presentation card to the world, right? Like this is my first film. I'm still figuring out what stories do I want to tell, how do I want to tell them, but this is like my first attempt, to do filmmaking and to then like have that like at Sundance, then a lot of people can see it and it receives like a lot of attention. So I think it definitely opens a lot of doors. That's for sure.
So, did it make getting into other film festivals easier?
Oh, I'm not sure about that. I guess in the United States, yes, because I'm guessing that they look also at what happened like in January at Sundance, etc. So the film has been getting a lot of selections in the United States. So I'm guessing that yeah, Sundance did help a little bit.
Well, I just think it's the most incredible thing. And when the audiences see this film, what would you like the audiences to take away from seeing it and the message of the film?
Hmm. I think I'm gonna answer your question, of course, but I do think that whatever you take with you after watching it is what you have to take. I think we all have a different interpretation of the film depending on who we are, but also depending when and where are we watching it. Um, so I'm actually like very much interested in like what people like got from it. But I think I have two intentions with this film. The first one, and I apologize in advance, is that I want people to come out from the theater after watching the film and walking on the street. They bump into trash and bags of trash, and I want them to think that in another part of the world there's a woman, there's pieces of woman inside of this bag, because I think that is such a haunting image, and I know that is an idea that haunted me for a long time, and it's still today when I walk on the street and I see a bag of trash, I think immediately about that. But I also wanted the film to end with an open note. Uh, there's this scene at the end where young Olivia looks at the bag on the street and she understands what is happening, and there's like this black and white that starts from inside of her and then contamines the setting, and like the whole image starts turning black and white. And it was very important for me to cut this scene before the whole image turns black and white. I wanted to still be a bit of color like in the corners, because I also want to send this message that it's not too late for the little girls of the future, that we can still do things differently and we can change what is happening so that the little girls from the future don't grow up in a world in black and white, full of fear so that they can grow up in a world full of color.
I love that because the scene towards the end where Olivia is grown, she returns home, she's in her bedroom, and she pulls the box out from underneath the bed. And she opens it up and she sees the missing person poster that she had put in there when she was a little girl. Was that was that scene a message to all of us not to forget those that are missing?
Yeah, I think the like for sure the whole film is like saying that that we shouldn't forget any of these women because they are so many of them that they become paradoxically um, how do you say it?
Well, I looked at
Like
it as the
invisible.
yeah, I was looking at in that scene as the message to all of us not to forget those. And she was reminded and like you said, there was the poster, there was the trash bag, there was the change of color. Um, this is this is one of my favorite animated films I've seen this year because
Thank you so much.
it brings forth a very strong message, but you came into the film very easy, and the audience doesn't know what they're expecting. And because, like I said earlier, it starts out happy, a little, joyous, and then things start to change because now the message is starting to become clearer, but that message is also a little bit on, well, not a little bit, it's actually on the dark side of things. And I've been years ago. I've been to Mexico, been to Monterrey. It's a beautiful city. Mexico City is a beautiful city. Um, and a lot of people don't realize that Mexico City is like the fourth largest city in the world.
Yeah.
No one ever thinks about that. And because it is the fourth largest city in the world, uh, are many of these women, are they disappearing from the city? Or are they disappearing more from the poor sections of Mexico?
Um, it's actually everywhere. And that's actually how the film was born. It's because I I was doing a lot of research about these disappearances just because I wanted to understand what was happening. How could these women disappear? Who were they? Who took them away? Um, and I became obsessed with finding like a pattern, a structure of how these events were happening. And that was the most terrifying is that it can happen to anyone. The pretty young girl from the film could be any of us. So that's how the fear was born inside of me, and that's how I then felt like the urge to express and write about these feelings. Um, so that like of course there are certain characteristics that can make it more dangerous for the women, but it can happen to anyone. You just have to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And ladies and gentlemen, this film is the jury award winner at this year's Sundance Film Festival. It is Oscar qualified. And, como si la tierra las hubiera tragado, which translates to as if the earth had swallowed them up, is about Olivia, a young girl living abroad, returns home to her hometown in Mexico in the hope of reconnecting with her past. But the violence she witnessed as a child has not abated, and the journey rekindles memories that are impossible to reconcile with. Currently, more than 10 women a day are killed in Mexico. Many more disappear and are never found. So many that they become invisible and paradoxically, well, just numbers and a statistic. But in a way, this invisibility is the final violence they suffer, leaving their families what has happened to them. And this is a very, very powerful film. And of all things, it's an animated short film that tells a very clear story. So, in the audience, so ladies and gentlemen, if you're at a film festival and you see this film, you're going to understand the very things that Natalia and I have talked about today. It will leave a very lasting impression. And for many women out there, it should actually cause you to be aware of your surroundings at all times. We're now living in a world where not every place is safe. And Natalia, I want to thank you so much today for sharing this very powerful, very compelling animated short film with me today.
Thank you. And thank you so much for taking the time and for all your questions and your attention when watching the film. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very powerful film. So keep your eyes on this one during the Oscar campaign season. We may see this film go all the way. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, you can catch all of the Bondon Cinema interviews at bondoncinema.com. Check out our Prime show, our YouTube channel, and yes, you can listen to us on your way to work or play on Spotify, iTunes, Audible, and more. And remember, you'll either see me at the movies or from the red carpet.